There's a lot of talk about this immigration thing going on and all these immigrants and all these compligrants. That's what I call them. They're compliant migrants because they're coming from countries where they had no other choice but to give up their own personal liberties and personal freedoms. And they've probably all been jibby jabbed, and they've probably all been put through the whole World Public Health Organization's rigmarole and all of that too. So, they're coming into our country and they're bringing their culture, and their culture is clashing heavily. And I think that's intentional. I really do. This whole thing with the immigration crisis is fully being exploited on so many levels by both sides of the so-called political parties and the political aisles. And I think it's also got a lot to do with continuity of government operations, that this whole situation is allowing them to test their systems, their local authorities, the state authorities, and the federal authorities to be able to, just push the limits on our constitutional rights and everything. And as far as a criminal element coming in, that's a proven fact. There's, data and statistics, and I'll probably end up doing a video on it, but, there's data and there's statistics and there's proof. There's news articles from other countries and stuff that have talked about this, about them releasing their criminal element into our country. And here's the kicker. Okay. If you look back through our own history, we did the same freaking thing. Okay. We've transferred our worst elements in society over into other countries, working operations for CIA, for FBI, and recently the NSA, because the NSA didn't exist prior to 9/11. And NSA is one of those agencies that needs to be defunded and disbanded. Seriously, they've just pushed the limits on our constitutional rights and infringing on our liberties and our freedoms right from the start. So, but anyway, Trump's talk about the largest deportation is getting a lot of pushback from certain folks out there that think that it's a threat to democracy and all of that. I just want to remind y'all, this is a Clinton speech from 1995, a State of the Union, and he's pretty much saying all of the things that Trump's saying now, and they applauded him for it. So I'm going to go ahead and play that, and I don't know, I'll probably have a little bit more to say after I play it, but just listen to what Clinton has to say here.
Not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more, by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace, as recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
So, yeah, I'm hearing a lot of criticism on Trump, and while Orange Man bad, of course, but did they forget that they once stood on the same side of an idea? You know, on I think there's other things going on as far as allowing all of these people into certain cities, into the sanctuary cities. I think it's got everything to do with voting and our elections, and it also has to do with replacing a certain section of the working class. The working class folks that lost their jobs because they didn't want to comply to unlawful and illegal mandates requiring them to do things to their physical body against their will. you know, and they're trying to prove a point. They can bring in all of these compliant migrants to take those jobs because those compliant migrants, those compligrants, have already been jibby jabbed and have already had their will broken and they're completely broken down. So I think there's a lot more going on with this illegal immigration crisis, multiple crises all at once, and it's serving multiple agendas, and they are exploiting them on every level they could possibly exploit them right now. And one of probably the most terrifying, the most dangerous is the rhetoric around you know, the attack on people's animals, people's pets, and animals in parks, and this just the cultural clash that's going on. It's really disturbing to see the mainstream media calling that a conspiracy theory, because I've seen several different body cam footages. I've seen people's eyewitness testimonies that they've given to local news agents in those cities and those towns. And I've seen the testimonies and the public hearings that these people have given, where they're standing in a public hearing and they're giving testimony where, there is a certain level of prudence to them telling the truth and being honest. And I believe they are being honest. I believe these cities, these sanctuary cities, are being overrun by these, compligrants. I saw it in Lansing, Michigan, growing up. I saw it happen there. As soon as they designated Lansing as a sanctuary city, we completely went downhill, and it has been gone downhill since. And you can look at every sanctuary city and you will see that's what happens when you allow people from other cultures to come in to certain areas and take it over. I'm just saying, it's one thing when Trump says it, and they're very critical of Trump saying certain things, but it's a whole nother thing. They tend to forget back when, this was coming from a Democrat, okay? And they stood up and they applauded
Americans, not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country, are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more, by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace, as recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.